Welcome, everyone, to World Bigfoot Radio, Episode 16, Part 2. We are once again with Adam from West Virginia, who during the last episode was telling us about encounters that he had had with Bigfoot early in his life. And they were in West Virginia, and he had his wife with on at least one occasion. Both, wasn't it?
Both of them, actually.
Yeah. And so he had some previous experience with Bigfoot down there in his neck of the woods. But then one fine day, he found himself up in Ohio with some relatives and was going to go do a little bit of fishing and ran into something a lot different. You want to talk about that?
Yeah, I can talk about it, however uncomfortable it is. Said there, me and my cousin, we were up in Ohio. My family went up there for vacation. So it was summertime. It was like week of the 4th. We had went up to see like family. We decided one night, we'd been up there for a couple of days. Decided one night we were gonna go night fishing at this pond that was about a mile or two from my cousin's house.
So your cousins knew about this pond and they suggested it?
Yeah, my cousins knew about the pond, but I don't know if they'd ever been there or what at night. I know they'd been there in the daytime. And
okay.
Fished. So we decided we're going to go night fishing. You know, there was nothing else for us to do. We get to the pond and explain a little bit about this pond. When we pull up, it's a gravel road that you go onto. You pull up to this pond. It's an open field with tall grass. There's no lighting there. It wasn't really very well maintained, but you know, we decided we're going to fish. We go out on this dock, and the dock's pretty rickety, but we're out there fishing, having a good time, goofing off. Well, we'd been there for probably 2 hours, maybe a little longer. We decided we got bored. We're done. We're going to leave. And as we're going off the dock, I took one step and just about fell through the dock.
So this dock wasn't very well maintained, basically, is what you're saying. This place probably wasn't getting used a whole lot.
No, it wasn't very well maintained at all.
Now, before you go any further with the story, how far away were you from your vehicle, and what were you guys driving in?
We were in a '80s model, late '80s model Oldsmobile.
Nice big car.
Yeah, they're big boats.
Yeah.
Big heavy boats, long cars.
Yep. Or a boat on wheels.
Yeah. Now, from where we parked in the field. From the dock, we were probably 50, 60 yards maybe from the dock. And on the other side of the car, you had tree line. Now, from the car to the tree line, that was probably another 50 yards, maybe a little longer. But we parked about in the middle. We're walking back from the dock, and the old big die-hard flashlights. They were little, like basically little spotlights. I had one of them. That was the only light we had. And we're walking back and goofing off, talking. At 14, I was 14. My cousin, he was 17. We're just goofing off, BSing. And as we're walking back to the car, I have the light. And I'm just waving it back and forth, like shining it on the ground, shining it on the trees. And I noticed something in the tree line. So what we seen the eyes when I was waving the light around. We seen a pair of eyes pretty high up in the tree, and we looked at it. When we saw it, we're like, that looks like a big owl. The eyes were really big though, like. They didn't glow like they didn't reflect like really what an owl should, and that's what really caught our attention because it was a red eye shine, and I didn't think that the light had really hit the eyes when I was waving it back and forth for it to really catch our eye like that.
Uh-huh.
So I take the light.
It seemed to you like whether you had the light on it or not, it was still this red eye shine, and just because you were flashing the light over there and looking that direction, you noticed it.
Yes, that's what. Yeah, but really, because it really didn't. You could see it. Like that's what really kind. I guess that's what really kind of got our attention. But when I was waving through, that's what really made us notice it. Now.
That would have got my attention too.
Say that night there wasn't a bunch of moonlight. You could see a few stars and stuff, but you couldn't see the moon like that. It was a little overcast, cloudy night, but you could see stars here and there.
Mm-hmm.
So. That gets your mind thinking right there. How is that possible that you're seeing an eye glow, and you realize that there's no moonlight?
Yeah, and there's no street light or any sort of synthetic illumination there.
No street light there. No possible way for the eyes to be shining the way they were. Because there was no artificial light there, no moonlight there. The only light there was the light that we had. So I take the light. Excuse me, I'm sorry.
No problem.
I take the light and I swing back around and I hit this thing. What we thought was an owl. When I hit it with the light, you could see that there was no branch there for an owl to be sitting on. You could see that it wasn't an owl.
Oh my God! Could you see the outline of it?
Yeah, you could see the outline of this thing. You could see it. You could see it good. You knew what you were looking at when hit it the second time with the light, you knew exactly what you were looking at. You knew that it wasn't an owl. I mean, we didn't actually know what it was, but we knew what it wasn't.
Yeah, and for sure at that point it's not an owl. You're seeing this huge outline to go along with the two red glowing orbs.
Yeah. And
before you go any further, how much distance had you made from the dock toward the vehicle before you guys actually got this, oh my God, there it is, see the outline moment?
We had probably covered 20 yards.
So you still had quite a ways to go, another 30 yards or so.
Yeah, we still had about 30, 40 yards to get to the car. And this thing is right at the edge of the tree line. So the distance between us and the car was, say it was 40 yards, and the distance between this thing and the car was about 50 yards. So we had about the same distance to get to the car. And, you have this shock moment that you're like, your mind starts working like, what is this? What is this that I'm looking at?
Yeah.
I mean, you see this red eye shine, and when I hit it with the light, and you could see the eyes really well after I hit it with the light. Now, you could see the outline. You could see the outline of this thing with the light on it, and like I just paused. I just froze for a second. Like we all just froze. We didn't say anything. Like it's like I guess we were all looking in that direction because we've been talking about what we thought it was now. We've been talking about. Well, look, did you see that owl? You see how big its eyes are? And I was thinking, well, that its eyes are pretty far apart to be an owl. So that's another reason why I'd hit the light back over there, because we was wanting to see where the branch was that this owl was sitting on, because the tree, you could see the tree. The tree was probably 2.5 foot round, 3 foot, something like that in diameter, and it was straight up.
Mm-hmm.
No branches down at the bottom. And we're looking, when we were talking about that, as we're walking towards the car, we're like, that don't, because we'd actually hadn't been maybe 10 yards from the dock when I caught it the first time. And we're talking about it, we're still walking, talking about it, and see this, and you're like, that's okay. Well, there's no branch there. When you see this outline, you're in shock, and we have this epiphany. Like all of a sudden, no communication between us. You freeze, we stop, and it's like all of a sudden, this flight or fight response kicks in, and we all start running to the car. That we never said a word after we actually seen the outline. We never told each other, run, let's go. It was just, you got this feeling, we need to get to the car.
Mm-hmm.
We're off.
Wow.
Now,
so was it moving at this point, or was it just still standing there watching you guys?
At this point, we're running towards the car, and this thing's it kind of steps out away from the tree, and it's just standing there, like just watching us as we're running to the car.
And the thing is, you're like basically running towards this thing. I mean, God,
we have to run towards it to get to the car.
Yeah.
And, as you run towards the car, there's I know there was a million things running through my mind, like, one, what am I looking at? And, basically, from the outline, we saw a monster. All right, monsters aren't supposed to be real.
Mm-hmm.
You have an automatic fear that I'd never felt before, like this overwhelming feeling. You got to run, and then you realize, well, I got to run. I have to run towards this thing to get to safety. I have to actually run towards it. And I should have mentioned that, while we were there fishing, you couldn't hear anything that night. There wasn't a cricket, anything, frogs, nothing. You heard nothing that night. It was just
dead still.
No noise, nothing. We make it to the car, and we're screaming like, get in, let's go, let's get out of here. We dived in, and actually, I didn't even want to look that direction once we got to the car, because the thing was, it just gave us a stare like, okay, you going to leave or what? And by the time we had got to the car, 35 yards, this thing, we were in the car, and this thing had already covered a distance of 50 yards. I'm screaming at my cousin, start the car, let's go, we got to get out of here. We need to leave. He's kind of panicking. I'm tripping out. This thing is literally, I'm in the passenger seat, and this thing is literally separated. The distance between me and it is maybe a foot.
Good God. So even without background light at that point, you can probably get a pretty decent look at it. What did it look like to you?
Yeah, this thing was, it had to be 10 foot tall. No, I'm saying 10 foot. It could have been 9, but I'm saying 10 because its waist would have been at least even, if not a little over the top of the car, the roof of the car.
Yeah.
So I can see this thing. I can see this thing really well, like from its thighs and maybe a little bit below the knee, really well. Just all I have to do is just look out the window.
Were the eyes still glowing red when it was right next to you looking down?
Yeah. Yeah, when I looked up out the window, there was no light. No interior light from the car. No outer light, and the eyes were still red, still glowing red.
So at the point where you kicked on interior lights and you could see it a little bit better, could you get an idea of like what color fur it had, or hair it had, and how long it was, and anything like that?
I could see. I could see the hair really well. It was like brownish. It was like a dark brown, in some spots, it like had a reddish tint, but there was a couple spots that looked like it was, I don't know if it was graying or it was just naturally had lighter color hair in a few spots around its chest. The hair, it 2 to 3 inches on the chest and legs. Now around the forearms and where this thing's neck should have been, it was probably about 4 inches.
So a little bit longer there then.
Like it would have, like it had almost like a hairdo or something. Like right around its. I mean, this thing, it didn't look like it had a neck, but I mean, I know it had a neck. But if you would see this thing, you couldn't see the neck. I mean, this thing.
The shoulders and the trapezius muscles are so massive that they stand up behind the neck, up to where the head is, basically. So it makes them look like they have no neck.
Yeah. I mean, if you picture the Incredible Hulk on steroids and 10 foot tall.
God. Well, we know what the face looked like because that's how you identify this, and we'll get to that after the story. But how interested to hear, how big were the hands? At that distance, obviously, you could see them at some point. What did the hands look like? How big were the fingers? Anything you can give us on that would be interesting.
The hands on this thing, they look like dinner plates. Like the hands would be bigger, probably a little bigger than a dinner plate. But the thing about these hands is they don't look like what you would call a normal hand. I mean, they have a thumb, but if you would see this thing from a distance, you would think that it didn't have hands, that it had claws. The way the fingernails are, they come down to, they kind of curve down into a point, like like a raccoon would look. Like how raccoons and like the
it looks kind of humanish, but it's got claws on the end of the fingers. Got it.
Yeah, well, I guess it's. I'm assuming that that's its fingernails.
You're assuming, that's kind of what I was assuming too. Still not sure about that.
But now, from a distance, you would actually think that there was claws there. They were dark, like a dark brown color.
Yep. The one I saw, his were pretty much blackish color. It was in the shade underneath the branch, but that's exactly how it looked to me too. And that's one of the scarier things too. Like, you already had an experience where you pretty much ran into a Bigfoot in West Virginia, and at this point, you're looking at this thing going, what in the hell is this? In addition to being terrified by it.
Yeah, because I'd seen Patterson Gimlin film and stuff. I'd seen. I guess that what would be a Bigfoot, and when you see this thing, if you've only ever saw the Patterson Gimlin film, and you look at this thing, and then you look at Patty, you wouldn't put them together if that's the same creature with just a little bit of variance in it. Because they're They are not built anything alike. This thing, had this big, massive chest, and instead of it being kind of barrel chested like Patty, this thing it would be like a bodybuilder. It doesn't have it has what you would call you could definitely tell it had a waistline. You could definitely tell this thing. I mean, you could look at Patty and tell she has muscle definition, but you can really see the definition in this thing's muscles.
Yeah, and that's the one thing. I mean, Patty's massive and everything, but she's kind of got this blocky, like barrel type shape to her. You wouldn't really describe her as like a bodybuilder or anything, and it could be a female Sasquatch trait. But again, yeah, for what you're saying, it would be completely different sort of look to it.
Yeah, and that's what I mean between just like the way their body structure. I mean, they're close, but like you look at this thing, and it's built like a bodybuilder. It's got somewhat what you'd call hands, but they don't quite look right. And
right.
Then not only that, you have the glowing red eyes, which really makes no sense whatsoever. Nope. And we're trying to get the car. Well, I'll tell you another thing about the hands. The way the thumbs are too. That's take away the claws or fingernails or whatever. If you look at the thumb, it sets back.
So it's further back on the hand than where a thumb on a human would be?
Than what our thumbs are.
Okay. Lengthwise about the same proportionally?
Yeah, maybe the fingers are a little longer. I'd say maybe the fingers probably were a little longer than your palm.
Yeah.
But it could just be into that. I guess maybe I'm taking in consideration that this thing's fingernails, claws, whatever they are.
Mm-hmm. I can see how that little thing would draw your attention a whole lot, and you'd probably get a pretty good look at it, especially at the range you were at.
Yeah, because I'll be honest with you, the only thing that kept running through my mind is this thing is going to bust through the window, jerk me out of here, and kill me before we get the car started and get out of here.
So let's not hold everybody in suspense forever. At some point, finally, your cousin gets the car started.
We get the car started. We take off down the road, and this thing starts pacing us. We're on a little one lane gravel road, and this thing starts pacing us. Now, here we were thinking we're safe in the car, and we'll get away from this thing. And when you look over and see something running at 25, 30, 35, 40 miles an hour.
Oh, my God. And you're not losing it. It's still staying alongside the car.
Yeah, it's staying along with us. 25, 30, 35, it's staying along with us. And it looks like it's just taking a jog in the park or something. Like, this thing, it was really not putting much effort into staying right along with the car. And, when that sets in, like, at 30 and this thing's still beside of you, you're thinking, well, what else can I do to get away?
Yeah. No kidding. Or you thought you were going to get away safely, and the damn thing's still right next to you.
Yeah. and it finally, you know, when we got up to about 45, we start pulling away from this thing. Now, there's an intersection that we're supposed to take a left at to go back to my cousin's house. Well, the speed we were going, there was no way we were going to make. There was no way we was going to make that turn. And adrenaline and knowing that this thing was keeping up with us like that, we missed the turn. We go straight through the intersection, go down the road about a mile or so, and there's a gas station, and we stop. We stop at the gas station, and we're tripping out, and we're talking about, you know, what was that? What just happened? You know, and we're trying to calm down, and then you realize that we got to turn back around, and we got to go back up the road.
To get to where your cousins live in the trailer park.
To get to what we're hoping is safety, we have to go back up the road and hang a right.
Oh my God!
To his house. Now we're going back up. We sit there for a little bit, kind of get calmed down, realize what we got to do. You know, we have to do it. We go back up the road, and when we get to the intersection, this thing, it's waiting on us there. Back, like, not actually standing in the intersection. It was back on the gravel road a little bit, but it's just when we come up the road, the headlights hit it. That instant fear, bam, everything right back.
Oh my God!
And we're thinking, you know, we don't know what to do at this point. We don't know what's going on. And the thing, it's standing there like it knew we had to come back. And wow. I'm telling my cousin, you know, I keep screaming to him, if it comes, don't slow down. If whatever speed you can make this car, make the turn at, don't slow down. If the thing steps out in front of us, just hit it. You know, at that point, because
yeah,
I mean, there was nothing else for us to do.
No, unless you got a bazooka with you or something. You know, a big old giant boat from that era would be a perfect weapon.
Yeah, I mean, we didn't have anything. It probably wouldn't have done us much good, but we didn't have anything anyway. The only weapon we had was the car. But
how far were you from the intersection when you caught sight of them with the headlights of the car? Were you pretty close at that point?
Yeah, we were close. We were close to the intersection because where it was, it was just right back up. It might have been 30 feet from the intersection. So, you know, as the way the road just kind of laid back right-handed to go back to the trailer park, and if you just kept going straight, you'd go off the asphalt onto a gravel road. And the way it might have been 30 foot back, because as we're still straight before we got a gradual turn right.
In order to go, yeah.
Yeah, in order to go, it's just there, and you know, we I know he had his high beams on because, you know, we're paranoid out at that time. We won't see anything.
Oh, that might have helped you, you know, blind them a little bit with those high beams, keep them from seeing what the hell's actually going on.
Right. You know, I don't know. I don't know. You know, like I've often thought about, like, why was this thing this stand there and kind of give us like, not really a smile.
Oh, did you get the evil grin? Did he give you the evil grin?
It wasn't really a smile, but you kind of half smile grin type. Yeah, it looked like, I know I could hurt you at any time, and you know it, and I know it, type deal. But you know, it just stayed there and kind of just watched us as we went through. And
lucky for you guys, and he didn't pursue after that you saw him anyway. No,
not that we saw.
So when you got back home to where your cousins live, what did you guys do then?
We go in the house and we just go, we go straight to his room, and not really said so much, but it was like, there's no need to tell anybody else because nobody's going to believe it. For one, they'll think, we're just making stuff up, and let's never speak of it again, type deal. And I didn't really want to talk to anybody, and I know he really didn't want to talk to anybody. It was just like, thank God we're alive. We made it. We're safe. Let that be the end of it and try to put it behind us, and we'll act like this never happened.
Yeah.
Type deal.
Yeah. Because who are you going to tell? You don't even know what the hell this thing is that you saw. How are you going to prove it? Who are you going to tell?
Yeah. Well, who would believe us anyway?
Well, me. So you want to tell everybody how you found me?
I mean, a 17-year-old kid, and who y'all just making up stuff because y'all were a little later getting back than what you were supposed to be anyway.
Yeah.
Y'all making up stories. Our parents. We knew our parents wouldn't believe that we. I mean, what we want to tell them? We saw a monster.
Yeah. And the adults go, oh, no, you didn't. You were mistaken. You're imagining it. You're making something up.
Exactly. So, for the 23 years, I had only spoke about this one other time, and I told my wife about it, and I hadn't told her everything that had happened. I mean, because I knew nobody would believe me, and honestly, I didn't want to talk about it. I tried to just act like it didn't happen. I tried to put it out of my mind, like, that was in my imagination, and it didn't happen. Yeah. Even though you know that you didn't imagine it, and that did happen. You don't want to relive the moment, I guess.
No.
Just rather try to put it out of your mind, and it never happened. Don't speak about it, and do whatever you have to try to block it out. Because I didn't even know, I didn't even know until I saw your recreation. I didn't even know what I saw. So, I tell somebody what I saw. I saw a monster. That's the only thing, I could describe this thing as.
Yep. Wow. Yeah, that's really a bad spot to be in. I mean, you can even talk to people about the the two Bigfoot encounters you had over in West Virginia, because there's other people that see Bigfoot over there, and there's lots of people in the Bigfoot community you can talk to. But when you see an out-and-out monster like this, you know it's not a regular Bigfoot. Who the hell do you talk to about something like that? It just really puts you in a position where it's like you're shell-shocked from being in combat, and you're being totally shut down on being able to talk to anybody about it or share it at all. And you just got to try and swallow it and, pretend that it never happened. And, in my case, I had lots of nightmares connected to it and whatnot. I don't know what happened with you, but.
Yeah, I used to ride dirt bikes. I a lot back in the mountains. I by myself. I didn't think anything about it. But after seeing that, I still rode bikes, but I didn't go back in the mountains like I used to. I wouldn't go back. I wouldn't go back by myself, and I wouldn't go too far back. Period. Even if there was 4 or 5 of us riding. I just didn't. I didn't feel safe.
Yeah.
Seeing that, it opens your eye. It opens your eyes to something that you're told. You're told as a little kid that monsters aren't real. I was always told they're not real. There's nothing out here. There's nothing out here that can hurt you. Like that. Besides, you might run across a bear or sow with the cubs, or mountain lion or something like that. That's what you have to worry about. There's there's other stuff that's not real. That's that monster stuff. That's make believe.
Yeah.
Until you actually see it, and then
turns your world upside down.
Yeah. I mean, it affects you. It affects you more than I guess it affected me more than what I really wanted to let on, and probably more than I wanted to believe, because you don't know what you saw. The only thing you can say is I saw a monster, and then to have this thing see some of what it was capable of, like it pacing a car, and then you see just to see the size of this thing, and the eyes.
Yeah, it just doesn't sound like something a normal animal should be able to do, but yet there it is, flesh and blood right there.
Yeah.
Wow. The one thing that strikes me about this is that it was sitting at that crossroads waiting for you guys to go back. And I know we've talked about this story several times before, and where your cousins lived was only really a short distance away from where this old pond was, this little lake. And, if the thing was around that area, it probably had already seen that car and where it sat usually, and knew that it was going to come back that way, which is even kind of creepier. It's already reconned the area where your cousins live.
Yeah, well, it probably a mile and a half or so, from the lake or pond.
And for something that can move that fast, that would be like nothing.
Yeah, too, like when the way it closed the distance to that car, it was. It didn't even seem real.
And that gets described by witnesses a lot. That when they see them actually moving at high speed and stuff, they just have freakishly high speed. In addition to the fact that they're already huge and they can take long strides, they can move really fast, so it makes them even that much faster.
Yeah, and I don't know. I don't know if it was that we were so scared that you don't pay attention to certain things, but like you would think, as big as this thing was, you would have been able to hear some kind of noise when it was running.
Mhm.
I don't either. I don't remember, or this thing actually didn't make any noise.
Well, I'm sure the car was making quite a bit.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't like, you think back and we don't know how long this thing was actually watching us when we were actually on the dock fishing.
Yeah. He might have been there when you guys pulled up and just sitting there watching you the whole time.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, that there was no, hindsight, I guess it's 2020, but you look back on certain things that night, and it's
no light, deserted area, rickety, falling apart dock, everything's dead still. Yeah, this would be like the classic lineup in a horror movie that would warn the audience that, something bad might happen. The only thing you're missing is just like the scary music in the background. But yeah, a lot of times this stuff happens, and it's just like you only after the fact you look at the little details and you went, oh my God, how did I miss that? Why wasn't I paying attention? And at the time it just doesn't seem like it matters that much. It seems to me like, you guys, this was during the summer months, right?
Yeah, it was 4th of July week.
There you go, midsummer. The native legends from further north talking about the Type 4N say that you don't have to worry about them too much during the summer. Apparently they're quite able to feed themselves and whatnot at that point. And during the winter is when you really got to worry. If you run into one, then it's going to eat you. And it sounds like this one maybe was well-fed and just wanted to chase you guys out of his little area and go away, stupid humans.
Yeah, well, he did a good job of that.
Yeah, no doubt.
Good job of that.
But you got to admit, as big and fast as this thing was, if you wanted to rip the car door off and get you guys, he could have.
Oh yeah, there's no doubt. This thing probably could have flipped the car over.
Yeah.
Or, it would have had no trouble knocking the glass out and at least grabbing me up before we got the car started, and the other ones might have got away.
Mhm.
So, but
yeah, not a fun encounter. Well, you win the prize so far. You get to be closer to one than anybody else has. I was about 40 feet away, and the closest Lynn got to the one that was chasing them was right behind the car. So, having it right alongside the car where you're like a foot away from it before the car finally takes off. That's you win the prize on that one. You get closer. The only person that's going to beat this one is touching one. And good luck with that endeavor, guys. That's all I could say. I don't think you're going to be on the show if you try that one. God, you're just really lucky. It just sounds like you were in a bad place at a bad time, but other elements of it came together on your side, and he just didn't seem like he was too interested. And another thing is, too, that they're not stupid. And if he tears a car apart and kills the humans in it, he knows all the other humans in the area are going to be swarming all over the place, and he's going to have to go somewhere else. So it's a lot easier for him to just chase you guys out of there. And he was probably planning on moving along soon anyway. They don't seem like they usually stay in the same area most of the time. They like to move around quite a bit.
Well, yeah, I guess one thing I did take away from it is, after the fact that you kind of learn to watch, you learn to, I guess, more pay attention to, like where your surroundings are.
Yeah.
Like if it don't feel right, then now I don't do it. It's like it's funny that we didn't speak a word, like we didn't yell at each other, run. It was just like we instantly knew to run.
Yeah, automatic. Oh, okay, sheer terror. Here we go. Now, having been close to a Bigfoot and one of these Type 4s, do you notice any difference between that? I mean, both of them are, like, scary. Did you see any, was there any difference to you from having been near both of them?
I mean, I didn't get the feeling, like, I mean, don't get me wrong, I left the area seeing Bigfoot, a Type 1. I left the area. You know what I mean? Don't get me wrong. I left, but I didn't have that, like, just overwhelming sense of fear and dread, like, I'm going to die type.
Mm-hmm.
Just from, you know, just from seeing something, no, I didn't get that reaction from a Type 1. Like,
I wonder if you were getting infrasounded. That would be the one possibility there that Kuhnbo would be mad at me if I didn't bring up. But that can create effects like that, disorientation, nausea, terror. You can do a whole lot of things with it. It seems like you'd be quite a ways away from you, but I don't know what their broadcast range is either, so that's definitely one possibility. I noticed when I saw mine that it was an instant feeling like an icy hand grasped your heart, your stomach was filled with lead, and it was stark terror time. There was no ifs, ands, or buts about it. As soon as I saw that face, I had about a second and a half before I jumped on my sled and was trying to break the world's luge-run speed record to get the hell out of there. And, you know, like, it was just, you know, total soul-crushing terror. It was like the thing was made out of solidified fear, basically, is the way I reacted to it.
Yeah, I would totally agree with that, yeah. You think that your heart would beat out of your chest?
Mm-hmm.
Panic. I mean, I can look back and see myself like today, and I just like the panic that even though we're in the car, like I'm screaming at my cousin, go, we gotta go, because yeah, when you see these things, I mean they're tall, but I mean this thing was just so wide and muscular that I mean it didn't even seem real. Like it doesn't even seem possible that something could be that size.
Yeah. And that's the thing that always blows me away, and that includes the really big Type 1s and, you know, the other ones and whatnot, is like how huge these things are, and yet they can still move silently. They can still move really fast. They can hide, you know. They're really good at hiding. Okay, well, you're 10 feet tall and 4 feet wide. How are you doing this? But, you know, lifetime of practice, starting from when they were tiny, so that gives you the answer to a lot of it. It's terrifying experience. And was there anything else you wanted to say about it?
The only thing I could say, I could say a couple of things, but I don't know. I will say that I feel better now. Like I said, I've told my wife a little bit. You were the second person that I'd ever told it, and told you the whole deal, getting it off my chest. Like when I run across that one episode, and I seen that picture, it was like that aha moment, you know, and it's terrifying.
There it is again.
Yeah, it terrifies you, but then it also gives me a little bit of, I guess, some kind of closure to, you know, at least now I know, you know, what I saw.
Yeah. And you know, there's two other people that saw one and survived it that have also talked about their encounters, and that helps to know that you're not the only one out there.
Yeah, because you know you think you're crazy.
Yeah.
Even though like my cousin, you know, he was very he's since passed, and you know, there's nobody that could verify my story.
Yeah.
You know, nobody I could talk to. If I ever really just wanted to talk to someone about it, you know, like, couldn't do that, you know. And I want to thank you for that. Because it does help. It helps a lot.
I appreciate it, man. You know, glad to be of service. Somebody had to be the first one to come forward and be dumb enough to actually go get shot up by the public, calling him a crazy man and saying that there is no such thing before other people could see the picture of it and hear the story and go, oh my God, I've seen one of these things too, and didn't have the courage to come forward. And that's what I'd like to thank you for, is having the courage to come forward and share your story, so that you know, the more lucky survivors who encounters with these things that we can get to come forward and share their stories, and more that people are going to realize that you know, there's other things out there besides Bigfoot that you need to worry about. And in fact, I don't worry about Bigfoot very much. I'm really not very scared of type 1s and type 2s anymore. These things still terrify the hell out of me. I don't ever want to run into one again, and for good reason. They just have a bad reputation. They always have had. It goes back centuries. There's a good reason for it. You know, occasionally somebody will get lucky and see one and get away from it, but in general, Wendigo doesn't like to leave witnesses. So, again, thanks so much for coming on the show. We really appreciate having you back, and all the fighting we went through trying to get an episode recorded and getting this one done so that people could hear it, and telling your story over and over and over again. As we tried different recordings, it did work. So thanks for your patience and tenacity sticking with it, Adam. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, folks. Well, join us again for the next episode of World Bigfoot Radio.